Okay, good morning, Chris. I just ask you to introduce yourself.
Good morning, Dario. It's a pleasure to be here in the scrutiny in Darwin.
The World Solar Challenge is an historic race. How does it change since the first edition in 1987?
Wow, that's a big question. How does the World Solar Challenge change over 35 years? Our scientists set the regulations, and our goal is to be ahead of the status quo. We want the teams not to just copy each other, we want them to think about the problems of sustainable transport, the application of new technology, and how those things will come together in a practical application. So there are literally thousands of incremental changes over the past 35 years that have brought us to this point. We aim for a step change in regulations every 5 years, again, as I said, for making sure that people don't just copy each other, they think about their own solutions to the problems, and that's why we have cars here of completely different shapes. I think it's quite exciting that we set a goal with, I'll start that bit again. Everything is important. The point is that our scientists set regulations to be ahead of the status quo, and we change the regulations regularly so that teams don't just copy the solutions other teams have figured out. They have to think about it for themselves. So when we write the regulations, we say what needs to be achieved. We don't tell them how to achieve it. They have to think for themselves how they will achieve the requirements of the regulations, and that's why we see cars with so many different shapes. We don't have homologated motor racing. So over the last 35 years, lots of technology has changed to bring us to this point, but also there are thousands of little points of difference. Every event, we learn from each event. We have new technology coming on stream, and we encourage teams to embrace that new technology and think for themselves what is the most innovative application. Examples of this would be batteries, where in 1987, predominantly lead-acid batteries. Our regulations call for a nominal 5 kilowatt hours of stored energy, 140 kilograms of lead-acid battery was the equivalent of 5 kilowatt hours of stored energy. So from 140 kilograms of lead-acid battery in 1987, we transitioned to 18 kilograms of lithium-ion batteries today. And there are also new technologies on the move now in that space. Some of the top teams have got some brand new pouch cells that come from the designers who designed these batteries for military applications. And that reminds me that in 1987, the top team had silver zinc batteries that were designed for military applications in torpedo technology. And we used to joke that if they worked well, they only needed to work once. Tyre technology has come an awful long way, and it's delightful to be working with Bridgestone Corporation, not only on low rolling resistance, but also on the amount of recycled material that goes in the tyres. And of course, let's not forget the heart of this event is photovoltaics, the power of the sun. Now we don't say that it must be photovoltaic, we just said you must have solar collectors. The solar collectors could be anything. Nobody has found a viable alternative to photovoltaics, but photovoltaics themselves have progressed. So in 1987 we had 8 square meters of PV technology, predominantly silicon, and that moved into space technology. If teams had the money, the gallium arsenide cells that typically power Earth orbiting satellites and deep space satellites that we've moved on from. Basically because that has a high environmental toxicity. When it was invented, nobody thought they'd be used here on Earth. We'd send them into space and we'd never get them back again. But we have new technology now. We will see this year the first practical application of tandem perovskite cells in one of the teams, and that was all top secret until they came to the scrutineering board here. but we worked with them and we worked with the developers in Europe to make sure that what was going to come here fitted our regulations, that there wasn't an unfair advantage. An advantage, yeah, maybe, that will be tested and the team knows that they're taking a chance on what that advantage is. But it's such a fast-moving space, and we may find that in the next edition of this event, that technology will come out with a smaller area of PV, which will allow the designer greater freedom around the aerodynamics, the structure of the vehicle, and that sort of thing. Extremely lightweight, flexible, and it's great to see them.